Two policemen are looking for a dangerous criminal. The policewoman noticed the criminal fleeing, threatening to stop. The criminal attacked her and shot, then fled. News of the criminal's seriousness spread, and anyone with information was asked to report it to the authorities. The girl went to Pete Fall, working as a night girl, preparing for a guest. She didn't care about the news until she heard a voice from the lounge. She looked for the source of the sound, turned off the TV before you saw the criminal standing up. She tried to escape from him, but attacked her and prevented her from screaming. She took her phone from the kitchen and hid it with it, but he found a knife and threatened her with it to drop the phone and comply with his orders. After calming her down, he asked her if she was alone at home. She told him she lives alone and waits for a very important and dangerous guest. She was asked to cancel their appointment, but refused because of the guest's importance. He agreed to call him, but suspected she might call the police. A woman heard the sound of a helicopter, and she feared that the police were looking for him. She offered to help him treat his wounds or hide them in her crypt. Then he suddenly felt very dizzy. The criminal goes to the woman's store and opens her little safe. In the meantime, the doorbell rings, telling him that there is a guest and he should not stay at the door for fear of being forced in. The criminal agreed to open the door to the guest, and he remained in the basement waiting for her. While waiting, he got in and fell, making the guest feel someone else in the house. The criminal quickly returned to the basement after opening the door. The man went down into the basement, where a criminal attacked him and strangled him with a belt. The criminal forced him to open her safe, which was full of money. The bell rang again, and the woman said she was waiting for no one but the private guest. The officers heard her and opened the door. They are looking for a dangerous criminal accused of murder, who police warn could enter their home and advise her to close the house well. The criminal walked, standing terrified behind the door, until the roundabout returned more forcefully, causing him to faint. He woke up in the bathtub with a wound to his arm, and Fall told him he had wounded himself with a knife he was carrying. The woman told him that the man killed was an important figure, and gunmen would come looking for him in a day or two. She suggested protecting her, but he refused and preferred to look for a hiding place. Suddenly they heard violent knocks on the wall, and the killer appeared from the bathroom wearing a bathrobe because she put his clothes in the washing machine. Freddie, the guest, did not die, but was hitting his head against the wall. Freddie escaped from the criminal who pursued him to prevent him from seeking help, and the criminal killed him in the garden. The girl rejoiced at Freddie's murder and said he killed 2 people in one day, stressing that this was the only way to avoid Freddie reporting him. The criminal was surprised by the victim's strange actions. The criminal went to the washing machine to get his clothes and then came home. It turns out that there is a witch associated with black magic. The witch influenced the silver knife the criminal was carrying. The criminal later heard the news about a murder and about a criminal named Finn. The CEO of a famous company was killed. The man is heard calling him a sick and a fugitive killer and being chased by police. A woman tries to approach him, but refuses her and searches for food in her home, wondering about the absence of food. She tells him she doesn't eat, and then she leaves him alone to take a bath. He sat alone remembering what happened with his girlfriend, who convinced him to rob her father's house, where she had stolen money from him. He believed her words and entered the house, killing her father while defending himself. His girlfriend ran away in his car, leaving him, and had to hide at home after police chased him for stealing his girlfriend's father's car. The girl asked him what he intended with the money he stole. He told her he was going to move to Brazil. Val told him that money probably still exists in the same place and that thousands of dollars are waiting for him. The man was surprised to learn that money was in his father's safe, especially since he didn't talk about it in front of her. Val told him that his addiction needed treatment, otherwise he would die. Fall then rose from the front of the mirror, but her reflection remained constant, moving around until they heard knocking on the door. Finn hides himself at some request. The police open the door and search the house. The policewoman searches everywhere, but she doesn't find him under the bed. Finn suddenly appears behind her, threatened with gunfire. The policewoman saw in the mirror that Finn had no gun, so she told him Vale had been taken to hospital and was still alive. Finn convinced her of his innocence and surrendered to her. The policewoman abruptly changed her voice, telling him he would never leave the house, and her shape changed strangely from what exhausted him. A woman appears in front of a man and tells him that she saved him from prison, asking for his soul. The man refuses and screams for help, but tells him no one will hear him. The woman explains that she is a demon she wants to control and requires his consent to live with her in exchange for fulfilling his wishes. She proves to him that she can do anything by immediately transferring it from her home to his enemy's house. She tells him that the place is the beginning of his dreams and nightmares together, and she tells him about the policeman who tried to arrest him. She takes him back to Phil's room, tells him that he's not dead yet, that he's between life and death, and that he can choose to stay with her and her friends, statues that were real people like him. Fenny tried to escape a crazy woman, but found himself trapped by people who put him in a bathroom. He saw Freddy in the bathtub, then suddenly moved elsewhere with his girlfriend, who planned with him to rob her father. But her voice changed, realizing he was still under Phil's influence. Control his mind and make him imagine what you want. She asked him to sign a contract to renounce his soul in exchange for fulfilling his wishes. She shows her ability to bring his mother back or control the policewoman. He is asked to kill a policewoman to rule the world and control everyone, and is tempted with a knife to kill the policewoman in exchange for giving up his soul to Satan. But he refuses because he doesn't want to kill or die, preferring 25 years in prison. Satan can only harm man with his consent. A man who decided to confess to his crime and found that selling his soul could not happen. The demon wanted to control him, but could only do so with his consent, then bring him back to the beginning of the day. Before entering her house at first, then we see the policewoman arrest him, so he decided to turn himself in better than he could with the devil. The end. Subscribe for more movies like this. Thank you for watching.